401k advisors want to build a scalable practice, but aren't always sure what to do next. Welcome to Outcomes, the podcast designed to help advisors think, make decisions, and cast a vision to create a business for the future. Here's your host, Ross Marino, financial planner, author, speaker, and CEO of Advisor2X.
Welcome to the Outcomes Podcast. Today, our guest is Jake Rushton, advisor with True North and the founder of 401 Jake. Welcome to the show, Jake.
Thanks, Ross. Excited to be here.
Glad to have you. Now, you know it's still summertime. I don't know when everybody will be listening to this, but as we're recording, it's late summer, early fall. We're still working within the pandemic. You've got 5 kids. You have a practice. You have an outside business activity. You bike. You're a busy guy. How are you managing all this right now?
You know, you just take it a day at a time. I mean, you try to map out your day, but you have to have priorities. And some of those need to be, getting away from your desk. But, yesterday is a good example of one of those crazy days where I went on a bike ride with my wife. She got a couple flat tires. I didn't get back with very much time before my first meeting. And I did the whole day in bike shorts and a t-shirt, which is, I think, one of the best things about the pandemic is no one knew. So it worked out, but it's been really, really a fun time being home and seeing my kids a little more often. It's been a good summer.
Do you find that you're working way earlier in the day, later in the day? Are you doing anything discernible that you say, this is what I'm doing different and it's the only way I get through it?
I feel I'm kind of a night owl kind of guy. I don't get up super early. I like to when I can, but it's oftentimes I get the best thoughts out of my head and best work done at night when no one's bothering me. And so, it's been different. My wife has been blown away at how much I'm really on the phone. Like, I don't think she really grasped how much is going on during the day. And so, it's been eye-opening for her and the rest of my kids.
Spouses of an advisor may not really understand. And it's not just a man-woman thing of how many words a day, but if we have 6, 7, 8 calls during the day, I wonder how many words we actually say. So, right, it's no wonder by the time we get home, I can just shrug my shoulders sometimes because, I've got nothing left to say. So, and I don't want to work to, of course, where I'm spent, but it is amazing how many conversations we actually have and then figuring out, try to find the balance in that. Now, I know you're a biker, so have you done that your whole life?
Yeah, I've always been fascinated with biking. I think from a young age, I got excited about it and it's been something I've enjoyed, and I got a little more serious as I got older, kind of got into the triathlon world. I ran cross country in college, which was fun. But biking I've found works a lot better as I get older and some of the joints start hurting. Like, biking is just one thing that has been a fun passion for me. And it's not just about the exercise. It's really my time to unwind and kind of get my thoughts clear and get a chance to be away from all the distractions of the world. And so it really is a good escape for me during the day. And I try to fit it in everywhere I can.
So let's pivot to your practice. Now, I know you focus on physicians. How about giving us some insight into maybe 12 months ago versus today, how those practices are changing, having to adapt with what's going on with the pandemic, and then how you're connecting with them and figuring out, how do I educate, how do I consult when your relationship with them has probably changed quite a bit?
Yeah, it's been really interesting to see the changes. I mean, obviously now we go into meetings and we have masks on, and I did my first presentation the other day with a mask through the full meeting with the whole committee there. And it's been interesting because I feel like there's been an increase of activity, meaning more of these physicians have had more downtime, more ability to spend time looking at their finances, when oftentimes they're just so busy and their schedules are crazy that the 401k becomes kind of an afterthought. And once in a while, they'll come out of their cocoon and look at it. But I'm seeing more focus on it right now, which has led to more opportunities. I mean, we've brought on more plans than we ever have. And it's been really fun. And it's been hard, though, too, at the same time, to try and communicate with their staff. They don't want to get everybody together, so we can't have these big group meetings like we used to do. And so we had to adapt. And so I became really good at building websites, essentially, kind of just a one-page landing website that would have videos of me doing the things that I would normally do face-to-face with them, so that they could be home with their family, wherever they were, whatever time of day. And learn how to do a rollover, learn how to allocate their account, like all those different questions that you answer over and over again. I've now put one answer on the internet and specific for their plan, and they can look at it anytime. It's been great.
Yeah, and that's a neat way to capitalize on it. When you were talking about how the physicians are more accessible now, it dawned on me that I just played tennis a couple of weeks ago with a buddy who's one of the lead analysts at one of the big investment banks out of New York. And he made the joke that I can finally get CFOs on the phone now. And it's so much more accessible for him because he has to talk to the CFO and understand what's going on with that company because their investment bank makes investments. And I think we're all in that situation where our schedules change so much, we probably still have some capacity, but I don't know if I quite translated it into this is probably the best time to deepen relationships or prospect because they're probably more accessible than they usually have been. Have you made any changes from, say, a prospecting standpoint to try to take advantage of that? Or is it mostly with existing clients trying to dive deeper?
It's been a lot more prospecting in not a way that you would think in the classic way. You know, I go to meetings and then I look at my list of who was around and I try to pop in and set up a time. Now it's been more of a branding game or more of a get to know Jake and what we do and how, because they're spending more time on social media. People are online more. They have more ability because they're not as busy. They're not driving as much. And so I've been putting out more content. So becoming a content creation focus rather than just trying to knock on doors has been really fun for me, which is kind of where 401j came from. The whole concept of I need a brand here that resonates with me so that when I show up and we actually have that first meeting, they already know me. It's not like I have to, in a 1 hour finalist presentation, try to convince them that I'm the person. They've seen what I can do. They've seen how I communicate, and that's what they are looking for their staff and for themselves even. And so, it's been a lot more content than anything.
And I think that's brilliant. The call I had right before you was with Alan Gross, and we were talking about video. He's a marketing guy, really understands video well. And he talked about how the search engines are picking up video and the importance that they're placing on it. And a lot of our discussion was on how with the video, people will watch it. They're choosing to consume that way. And when they can see us and hear us, it's much more powerful than just the written word. So what I heard you just say is that you have the ability to really connect with these people where they understand your passion about what you do and why you do it. And when you go in, it's really not a cold meeting or even a warm meeting because someone gave you a referral. They've actually spent time with you. Are you seeing really a different level of connection when you walk into the room after they've watched the videos?
Absolutely. I mean, that's my goal every time, is to almost have everything lined up to say yes to us being their new advisor without, the full RFP process. Like, that's what I want to see happen. I want them to be convinced before we get to that point that our team is the right one, the right fit, and that they feel a lot of confidence in us. And you're so right. Like, video has been a struggle, I think, for most advisors. They overthink it. They worry about perfection. They try to script things. I can't script stuff, and I'm terrible at writing, but all it did for me is I just started with LinkedIn, and I made a goal. I said, every Thursday, I'm going to put a video out there. And it was just something that I knew I had to do. And it forced me every Thursday to put something out, and it grew from there. And now it's developed into a podcast and a YouTube channel. And I mean, we do a monthly webinar. We put that on our blog post rather than writing this huge thing. We put the actual webinar, and people can watch it when they have their own time. So I love video. I think it connects to people. It resonates with them. And the ones that it doesn't, that's fine. I'm okay with not winning every plan. So I'm not going to say the right thing all the time. And that's the case, but at least now they determine that before I spend all this time preparing and showing up to a meeting, I don't even have to worry about those people that are looking for one certain thing that I'll say. It's been fun. I love doing video, and I think every advisor should really try and figure out how to put together more video content.
We just had a conversation in our office yesterday, and I was explaining to a younger person in the industry that the fit is so important. And it's something that you may not necessarily have a formula for, or we can't articulate it, but people just connect with us. There's some people where they know we're a good fit. It's not necessarily because we do niche marketing and they understand here's what I do, but there's something personal that happens and there's a connection and they say, okay, I trust this person.
You can't convince them one time to say yes and then then you don't want to hear from them. I mean, it has to be an ongoing thing. There's going to be problems. And if that problem, you're not even able to have a conversation about it without fearing you're going to get fired, then that's not a good relationship. That's not going to work long-term. It's not going to be in the best interest of the employees and the participants. So you have to find that good fit. And I think going back to early in my career, I would put so much emphasis on any opportunity I had, any first meeting. I put so much worry that I had to get this one plan. And I think a lot of advisors do the same thing, where there's thousands and thousands of plans that need help, like all over. And you can't just get your heart set on winning this one plan. You've got to continually just move on and not get so stuck on one and waste all your energy on that one option.
Well, you mentioned that you just set a goal, do one a week, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And we know that's so important. It's hard, of course, because we always want to deliver and have a great product and a great presentation, but it just doesn't work that way. You got to get your reps in, you've got to do it, and you get better and better. So how about over time? Give us some insight into some things that maybe surprised you, or what did you learn along the way as you started doing the video and the podcast? Go back to the beginning and say, I wish I knew this at the beginning.
Well, first and foremost is know who you're trying to talk, who you want to help the most. So know your niche. And a niche is not a size of plan. It's got to be an actual industry. You've got to figure out who you're the best at and who you like to help. But after that, I would say get over the idea of perfection. I mean, you don't need to spend all this extra time scripting and trying to navigate compliance. Talk to your compliance team. And I understand if you're with a broker-dealer, that's a lot tougher, but understand the things you can talk about and the things you can't. And then as you continually do it, don't feel like it's a waste of time. Feel like you're investing in yourself. So if you're going to spend some time and you need some help, get someone to coach you, like spend some money to really help yourself get better at this is a good investment. Better than a lot of other things you could put your money into. Better than spending money on things postcards you're mailing out or whatever classic marketing method you're following. Investing in yourself and your ability to communicate and tell your story is going to give you returns over the long haul. It's just, you've got to be patient as you do it. So keep patient and be consistent. Don't give up because it doesn't give you results immediately. Putting videos out is not going to mean a plan next week, but we just want a plan, $24 million plan this week. And one of the partners texted me the other day and said, right before we won it, he said, "Oh, I've been really enjoying your YouTube channel." I had no idea that actual clients were looking at it. I thought it was just a few of my good friends in the 401k space that were looking at it because I'm pretty new at it, but he saw it and he resonated with what I was saying and it worked out.
And understanding the cumulative effect of content is helpful, because if they go on your YouTube channel and there's 3 videos, they would say, okay, there's 3 videos. But if you have 30 or 50 or 70, and then all of a sudden they see that you've been doing this for years and it's evolved over time, to me, that's way more powerful. I'm going to be much more attracted to a lot of content from one source than just a little nugget here and there. You spend time with other advisors. I know you do that. So talk to me about some of your interactions with 401 Jake and how you're working with different advisors and how you guys are helping each other get better.
Yeah, it's been really fun to get to know across the country different advisors, from just starting out to very experienced to some of the best in the industry. And we try to get together every 3 weeks. So I've started this thing called the Club Session. And it's literally just an hour on a Friday every 3 weeks where I have a kind of a specific topic. So this next one next week is about podcasting. I've done 26 podcasts so far. It's evolving. It's getting better. I'm trying to figure it out still and get better, more guests. I'm kind of seeing more traction with guests. But it's different topics and we just kind of share ideas. It's not recorded. I don't make content from it. So wholesalers can show up and feel comfortable that compliance isn't going to come after them. But I feel like everybody has kind of what they think is their secret sauce. But in reality, I don't think there's anything that's special that someone else might do. You might have more experience and you might be able to answer a question that another advisor wouldn't have heard about, particularly like in deeper kind of plans or bigger plans that have more struggles. But that can be resolved pretty quick with the right partners, the right TPAs and the right people you surround yourself with. So I just think the idea of getting us together and improving, it leads to my end goal is really to see more improvements in the 401k industry as a whole. We have a huge variety of different motivations for being in this industry. I don't think any of us decided to come here. We just kind of fell into it, and we stuck around because we found it was a good place, and we have a lot of things that we like to do. I really enjoy the variety of my day, but it's been interesting to hear different approaches other advisors take, and you don't need to keep everything a secret. Like, someone over on the East Coast can be doing something that could help me in Utah. That just helps each other. So why are we so secretive about it? And I think that's what's been great about the things you've done over the past with, the Excel conference and Advisor 2X. Like, I love that conference for that reason. It's our peers that are sharing the ideas and the things that we're doing. And that to me is really powerful, because where else are we going to learn from other than each other? So I like to see more of that.
The majority of advisors are happy to share. And I can say specifically, the more successful you are and the larger your practice is, you come to that realization that it's all about execution anyway. I could give you my entire operations manual. It does not matter. You could give me yours, and I'd say, wow, that's insightful, Jake. That's really cool. I love that. The video and the podcast, that's great. Oh, look, I have a call. And there I go. I'm not going to copy what you do. It just doesn't work that way. So right? So the sharing, I think, really helps. So I love that aspect. I remember taking tennis lessons many years ago, and the coach told me, when you play people, spend 1/3 of the time playing people better than you, 1/3 of the time playing people who are as good as you, and 1/3 of the time playing people not as good as you. And I think with what you're doing with Club Sesh is kind of like that, where you get all these different people in a room, virtually that is, and as they share, everybody benefits. And it's not just find the smartest person in the room and see what they say, but that interaction actually helps everybody. Is that what you're finding?
Yeah, we have such a good group, and some people that show up that are new every time. And then we have a consistent kind of group that show up that have been there the whole time. And it's experienced people. It's, a lot of the guys from Retireholics. We've had Jeannie and Alex, some of the big rock star 401k people that have been there. And to hear some of their thoughts and ideas, and it's just been really helpful for some of the younger advisors. And this is what I wish I had when I started. I was an advisor for almost 10 years before I got 100% in the 401k space. And it was a huge learning curve even then, even with that experience, even been around 401ks, here and there, kind of dabbling in them. But to go all in and to realize, wow, this is a whole different world than I ever expected. And there's not a whole lot of resources other than turning to your wholesaler who just wants you to use their product. And that's not always the best advice. So can we open the doors a little better so that in the end, we're all improving the outcomes in the results of the 401k plans that we're managing? To me, I love, of course, we all need to make money, and that's a big motivation of why we all work. But for me, there's a huge other aspect of the 401k business where you see success in a family's life and their ability to hit retirement one day and actually do the things they want to do because they were smart using their 401k to fit into the whole puzzle of their financial picture. And to me, that's really fun and exciting to see that succeed and see people have that success. I just really enjoy that side of it. So that I think is an important part of you have to have a deep down reason why you're in this industry, more so than just making money, because there's a lot of other ways to make a ton more money than the 401k space.
Yeah, there's something that grabs, I think, most 401k advisors, and it happens in an enrollment meeting when you watch these people make the decision and you just changed your future and it's going to impact your family. And it's just one simple decision. Let's bring up a story I just read recently that I want to chat with you about and get your perspective on it. It was a survey, 8th annual survey of retirement plan participants from American Century. It was just listed in 401k Specialist Mag on the website. And it showed 8 out of 10 participants said they would leave money in the 401k if an income option was available. What do you think about that?
It's fascinating to hear that stat, because we've done a poor job at figuring out that transition, and I've said this in meetings before. Well, you're going to have an IRA eventually, right? Why is the process to take money out of the 401k and roll it to an IRA if you use an advisor? Then we got a whole nother issue, because it's probably going to raise the cost because you're not part of the whole group in the 401k anymore. why have we not even thought about distribution from the 401k enough? And that's a great stat to say, we need to fix this. We need to do something about it. I'm not a huge fan of commission-based products. We're a fee-only advisor. So I struggle with the annuity idea. I understand the concept and why that would be important to people to know there's a guarantee there. I just feel a little bit different about that, as far as I want to capture some of the upside for the participant on their own, but some don't know how to react to the market conditions, so they make poor decisions. But yeah, I think it's fascinating. We need to figure that out. And what the answer is, unfortunately, I think most record keepers are going to go their own route with it. And I don't think there's going to be a huge push from the top or from some leadership level across the industry to have some uniform solution there. I don't know. I'm curious what your thoughts are on that too, because my dad just told me this week he's retiring next week. He's turning 65 and he just decided, I'm done. And this happened really fast. Like, we haven't even really talked about anything. And so I'm curious how he's going to structure everything, from a tax standpoint. And that happens with millions of Americans all the time. So is that the 401k person's job, or is that the annuity advisor, the annuity salesperson that takes their money out and gets them into a guaranteed fund and makes a huge commission? I don't know.
Well, how about we start by just looking at what would be optimal and understanding that optimal isn't reality, that's perfection, but what would be optimal? Start there and then work your way back. And I think optimal would be, from the participant standpoint, if 8 out of 10 said they'd leave the money, optimal is leave the money in the plan. So at least we know where they want it to be. So then the second is, how do we add income that they can feel secure with and give them some type of guarantee? And maybe the end solution is coming up with some type of income guarantee plan that also has portability. And if you do that, I'm not sure a bunch of record keepers would duke it out with each other. They may figure out how to work with each other in some ways.
There's a whole other aspect of the tax, pulling money out from a tax standpoint, helping your average employee doesn't really, I think, grasp the tax bracket system. And so when they flip the switch to retirement, knowing how much to pull out and where to hit their limits, it's without bumping up to another bracket, is really important there, which can cost them a lot of money if they do it wrong and they can't go back on that. So there's a lot more financial planning that goes into that than I think that anyone really puts into, unless they roll it to an IRA and charge a higher fee. So yeah, if the record keepers can come out with something, that was always my holdup when they, a few years back, when a couple of them came out with the annuity option, was, well, then they're kind of, what if they switch jobs, right? Like, then what, so you're so right. If they can come together and create portability, that'd be really big.
Well, I figure I'm just a guy on a microphone talking to another guy on the microphone. If we can see that portability, flexibility, and lower expenses and some type of guarantee on income is important, they've already been working on it for quite a while. It just probably hasn't trickled down to little old me yet, but I'm certain they're working on that. And I know there's conversations and products that people are working on, but really I think portability is the issue. If you got to ask, what's the big boulder in front of you, right? What's the big rock that you got to get around somehow? It's going to be the portability issue. I think that would get in the way. Expenses we get, you can figure out how to build something out and make it economically feasible for everybody, except when interest rates don't actually exist on guaranteed returns. So so maybe that's another problem that goes on for a while as well. So I'm sure we could go a few different places, but it's not an easy solution. We know that, but they want it. And if 8 out of 10 want it, whatever the number is on whatever survey, I think the market will figure out how to meet them and somehow come up with a way to give them some type of supplemental income. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the future on that one.
Yeah,
so,
it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah. So how about this? So let's go on the personal side. Daily, weekly routine. What have you made recently as far as changes that you found has been helpful to make you more productive and just be a better person?
I would say, well, one of the best things I did this year was give up my email. So what I mean by that, I have a director of operations, Jessica, who is just amazing with clients and with just handling issues, but she filters things for me. So I could let email drive my day every day. And for a while I did. And that really messed up my schedule. It messed up my priorities. It really limited my opportunity to grow our firm. And so when we made the switch and she kind of was the front line and she would tell me what I had to do, it really made my schedule better. It made me have the ability in my day to focus on what was the most important to our business and to my long-term goals. And so that was really critical.
Hey, let me interrupt you there, because that's powerful. You said I gave up my email. So I don't always dive into the mechanics when we're talking on a podcast. I love to know the why. I get the why. It can suck your energy and take up your time and distract you. So how do you do that with Jessica? Can you talk about what you've learned along the way and what your process is for her to take this on and to free you up?
Yeah. So, I mean, she has access to see my email box. And so if there's something that she can manage, she'll basically forward it to herself and she'll respond to that participant or whatever, whoever it might be that's reaching out. And then she'll sometimes type up a draft for me to respond to someone, to something that I need to be the one. So I'm always seeing what I'm sending out, and she's not sending emails in my name. So that way I literally can just jump on and she's already filtered through, the garbage emails that I don't need to worry about, the ones that she can deal with, she deals with, and the ones I have to do, she's kind of prepped already what I need to just add a couple things usually and make sure that it's my voice and what I would say. And then I hit send. So it was hard to do at first because email is something that I think a lot of us just get sucked into as like our world. Right. And it very much can drive the ship every single day if you let it. So it's not easy to have someone look at that and know that, but you have to have a lot of trust there that they're going to, and I've known Jessica for a long time. And so we kind of are on the same wavelength, and it's been really good relationship because she knows kind of how I would react to things and the things that are the most important. And so we kind of have that connection luckily in our business so that it runs really smooth. And she's about to have a baby next month. So I'm really scared. I'm not it's going to go down, but we're already talking about how to figure that out.
And I'll tell you that I brought in my practice manager to monitor my email and look at it with the hopes of having her take it over, but she'll take it over if I gave it to her, but I'll have to call myself out. I didn't give it to her. So she monitors it and she'll catch some things before I do. I'm still checking it way more than I need to. So I would joke that, well, I got to make sure that I catch any urgent emails, and all the advisors laugh. So we know that's not an issue because there aren't urgent emails. Anything that she can see, she can come interrupt me if it's urgent. It's just this mentality that we have ourselves. So yeah, I think I was even as you were talking thinking, maybe I'll just delete email from my phone. That's what it is. I'll completely disconnect myself, which isn't going to work. I need a habit and discipline, but yeah, we certainly have to improve on that. So how about we finish with this? You're in touch with a lot of different advisors, a lot of different vendors out there. How about you give some shout outs to some people, some firms that you think are doing good work out there?
Yeah. I've been lucky to have some of the best wholesalers and the best people that have been mentors to me and helped me. One in particular has been with me for the whole time I've been 100% 401k. And Ben Engelhardt, he's a wholesaler out of Denver for Voya right now, but he actually was on the TPA side prior to that. And so he was my go-to every single question. And he would, even if he wasn't going to get the deal, he would help me no matter what. And we have a really close relationship, and I try not to bug him, but I always seem to bug him at like 5:00 on Friday night, and he always answers. And so he's been one that, if you know Ben and you're out in this society, you know what a rock star he is. And he started, he's been in the industry a long time. And so his expertise has been so helpful. And when we're able, before before COVID hit, we went to meetings together a lot of time, and it was just so smooth. We knew each other and how we would support each other. And it's always great to have those connections, and know that his approach was never selfish, meaning no matter what I needed, he was going to help me. And I don't get that from every wholesaler. Obviously they have their goals or meeting and things they got to focus on, but the majority don't take that approach of like, this is a long-term relationship with this advisor. and they don't understand that's their value, is that if they're a go-to person and they're helpful, no matter what the circumstance, I'm going to stick with them forever.
It stresses the point that we all know is that product is important, but it's the relationships, it's the interaction, it's the service that we give our clients, it's the service that those vendors and their representatives give us. That's what we value more than anything else. That's why he's valuable to you. So I think that's a great way to close. Great wisdom. Jake, thank you so much for being on the show. This was fun.
Yeah, thanks, Ross. I'm super excited and appreciate you having me on. Love what you do and look forward to all the rest of the podcasts coming out.
Thank you for listening to Outcomes. Subscribe now to be notified when new episodes become available. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Advisor 2X. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service providers with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning.